Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS, baby. And today, we're going to be taking a look at the Neural Net drum synth from Audio Damage called Axon. Are you ready? I'm ready. Boom. Welcome to the show. My name is Jade. This is How to App on iOS. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to our Wart Warriors. You can become a Wart Warrior by clicking the Wart Warrior button below. It's a join button. It gives you $1. You get stuff and things, and it all makes everybody happy if the algorithms are blah, blah, blah. What an intro. I think I lost my own tongue during that. Is everybody well? Is everybody doing good? You all happy campers out there? I hope you are. We're going to play with some weird stuff today. We got some really interesting stuff with this app. It's quite complex, but very interesting. I like apps that take you to, that are very complex and new and interesting to make sounds with, and this is one of them. There's some interesting stuff coming up on the channel over the next day or two. Let me tell you about that. There is no interview this week. You know what is going on with my camera? I'm looking at my camera and I'm seeing some weird shit. Let me just do this. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Oh, we're back. All right. We got some interesting things coming up on the channel this week. No interview this week. No interview, but something even better. Something even better. My good friend, Peter Johns, is coming on the channel with me, and we're going to talk about all things distribution. No, not just like DistroKid sponsoring, because we have been doing this stuff for a long time. We're going to be talking about stuff like Bandcamp, stuff, just lots of, and we're going to be fielding your questions about distribution and stuff like that, because it's a topic that is hot at the moment, because there's a lot of things going around about distribution and should you do it, should you not do it, what's the best way to do it, how do you maximize the most usage out of the distributor that you're using to get the most eyes on your songs and stuff like that. And we're going to be talking a whole lot of turkey about that on that show. Yes, indeed. But the day before that, we're taking a look at some other app that I can't remember right now. It's this one. It's Bleaks. It is a multi-band compressor. It's happening tomorrow here on the channel. There is no Walk With Me this week because it's taking a 2-week hiatus. But I can tell you that the quiz is happening here for Wart Warriors on Sunday coming up. And there's a new show happening on the channel very, very soon. It is kicking off on the date. Let me tell you, your time, US time. On the 29th of April, there is a brand new show happening here on the channel. That is in place of the opening hour. Ooh, you'll have to watch to find out. Let's say hello to everybody here and get into this app today. Thank you for joining me today. I want to put that out there, especially today. Thank you. Maybe some of you know why. Cold Acre, what's the haps, my friend? Good to see you. Stu Cash, we got SM Borthwick. He is today's featured artist. There's a pinned comment at the top of the chat with a link to SM Borthwick's channel and all of his music on streaming services, talking about distribution. Hugh Caldwell, what's happening? Matthias, my fellow bandmate Matthias, is in the house. How good does that sound, Matthias? We're in a band together, mate. Good stuff. Rise of Dark Leela, who just took us on a journey of art for the last hour and 40 minutes. Thank you very much, Leela, leading up to the show. Thomas is doing hard work as always because he's awesome, filling you full of the links, all the important stuff that you need to know. Jenny Jolivet is in the house. She's listening and working. Can't see individual hellos, so virtual hugs to you all basically there. And I think I've covered most of you if you're lurking as well. Hello to you. Oh. Now I need to take a break. Oh, there's Brad Example. Hello, Brad Example. Good to see you. And if you're watching, lurking around, happy to have you lurking. All right, let's Oj over here and get into this app because you thought yesterday's app was complicated. Well, guess what? This one's way more complicated today. There's Peter Johns. Peter Johns, there he is. Peter Johns is in the house. Let's bring him back on the screen here. Me and Peter Johns. Me and Peter Johns this week. I love when Pete comes on the show. I get very excited when Pete comes on the show. And hopefully I'll go on his show soon as well. Hey, Wild Bill, what's happening? Good to see you, Wild Bill. Hello to you. All right, let's get over to where we need to go, and that is here to the Beat community. Price drops, things like that. What's changed? Jam Maestro Lite is free for a limited time. Chem OK has updated. I know how to say it now. I did know. It's a kebab. It's a kebab, right? It's like a kebab. A kebab. That's how you say it. Kebab has been updated by Chem OK. It's had a few little things to make it a little bit more sexy. Brain Buds had updates, and it's cheap at $2.99. Punch Lab by FAC has been updated with Mac support. Boom. BAM's on sale. Audio Thing's got a huge sale on at the moment. And we are going to Oj over here. There's Jam Lite. It is free. It's normally worth $1, so a bit of a saving there. Bam. All the audio, not all of them, a huge number of Audio Thing apps are on sale. I think if we jump over a couple of pages, I think there's not much time left either. I do believe that, I don't want to say it before we get there. No, has the sale ended? I think the sale has ended from Korg. Yes, the Korg sale has ended. Douche. Today we're looking at this. It is Axon 3. It's only $3.99, and I do believe that will go up. So it's really, really cheap, okay? Audio Damage normally drop very cheap ads. And if you're a fan of the app Rough Rider, this has the Rough Rider compressor in it as part of the app. So that's really, really cool as well. There's my Aussie friend, Perpetual Platypussy. I watch Jade. I like to watch retro tech stuff. Fun to watch others do complicated stuff that I'll never do. Yeah. Nice. This is complicated. You know what? It's not that complicated. Things are only as complicated as what you allow them to be, right? I say that just to try and give myself confidence today. So what are we looking at? This is Axon. It's $3.99. If you want to buy it on your PC and your Mac, guess what? You're paying. Look at that. $141. So if you think that iOS is not a good option, look at that price difference. It's pretty much exactly the same app, right? $141 to $3.99. I don't know how much it's going to go up to, but it will go up on May 10th. So if you're going to get it for $3.99, you want to get it now because May 10th, it will go up to an undisclosed amount. So it is available here on your Mac and your desktop, just like every app these days that's coming out is now iOS, Mac, and PC. It is what it is, man. It's happening. For those who think that the iPad is not a competitor, you're wrong. Sorry, it's a thing. All right, let's open up a project I made and see this thing in action. This is a very simple project. I've tried to make it all about Axon instead of anything else. We got 4 instances of Axon running, and we used Harmony Bloom from yesterday with the wonderful Phase Monkey as the sound for this. So let's just hit play. I'll shut up and we'll give you the demo and you can hear what's going on with this thing. And then we'll get into it. You ready? Oj. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. So what is this app that we're looking at today? Let's clear this out of here, this little project we made last night, and open up an instance of this. So it is a neural net drum synthesizer. That is the term that they're using for this Axon 3. Now, Axon had a previous version, Axon 2. It's no longer available on the App Store. This has been the replacement. I know on desktop and Mac, if you own the previous version, when you update, you can pay less. I think it's like $39 and you get to upgrade to the new version. I don't think there's that kind of thing for iOS because it's so cheap to just buy the new one for $3.99 and get the whole new version. Alrighty, let's say, there's a few new people. Gary Hubs, what's going on, Hubs? Sorry about yesterday, mate. I was a little bit testy, wasn't I? I've calmed down today. Some days you just have those days, don't you? Aaron, how's it going? You're operating a motor vehicle. Drive safe. Chris Lane Senior, drive safe. Be careful. Hopefully the tones of this show can get you through and it's enjoyable. Ed Zielinski, g'day, my friend. Good to see you. Always a pleasure, never a chore. Z to the E. It's Ed Z. Boom.
Boom.
All right. Let's have a look at this thing. So, I'm going to hit play. Nice. So basically this is I think they call it a dual oscillator. There's a sender, a carrier, and so there's two oscillation methods down the bottom. You've got an FM down here and your main oscillator up here. You've got a noise oscillator to the side here. And we have an overall. So this section up in the top left-hand corner is the general settings for everything. Over in the right-hand corner, this is your individual neurons. Now, these circles are neurons. And you see as I'm changing them, you'll see this section change to each number. The middle one is the number 1 neuron. So you can see it says number 1 neuron. And if I go up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's how the order runs. 1 in the middle. 1 in the middle, 2 at the top, and then around to the end, clockwise to make 7. And these individual neurons create pulses, and then how it works is each neuron feeds off another neuron, but you need a central neuron to begin the sound, and that always generates from the beginning. Neuron 1 is where you create, if you start creating a patch, you always start from neuron 1 and then send out to other neurons from there, sending pulses, and those pulses interact with the next neuron to create the next kind of sound, and you build up a drum kit or synth sounds that you like. So for me to get into this, so we've got our patches up the top, right? So you've got a nice little info thing here. When you click up on the name, and it'll take you to their website for the manual. And if you want to email them or anything like that, in the center is where our patches are, and pretty standard stuff for your patches. You've got some designers. You've got 3 designers who have patches. You've got some factory patches and your user patches where you will save your own presets, yeah? You can delete folders, save presets. You can import preset zips and export zips, so you can bring stuff in, send stuff to your friends. Pretty standard stuff for a patch bank. You've got a plus and minus over here that you go and switch through, forward and back. And next to that, we have some MIDI routing. And nice, really nice, simple MIDI routing here. So let's have a look at this from left and right. You have, with this MIDI note assign section, all 7 neurons along the top. You can select one of them, and these are your note ins. So you can MIDI learn what notes you'd like to play in for these, and you can decide which notes go out. So if you would like to send individual notes or sounds out to other AUV3s, like say FAC drum kit, you can do that as well by selecting note outs from here. So really good amount of MIDI outs and ins for you to control this kind of stuff. We're going to go to factory and initialize. This is your initialize patch. This will bring you to a completely blank slate. If I hit play now, the only neuron that will fire is the center one, number 1, and it is always a hi-hat. Off you go. There's your hi-hat. So if we take a look, let's turn it down. If we take a look over to the side here, this is our overall main section. We can change the clock rate. So currently this is locked to whatever door you've got it connected to. So you can change the BPM up here, of course. All right, you can speed it up. Say it's in GarageBand or in Logic. It's always going to lock to your project, and you can change that there. Down here, so you're not going to need to worry about the host or clock source because it's attached, yeah? Down here we have a clock rate, and you've got 3 options. An 1/8, slow, you've got a 16th, or 32. And this will determine the overall speed. You can change this at any time. Now, this is a synth as well, remember? It's using an oscillator. So we can decide if we would like to use a note. You can choose any note you like from the notes, C all the way, B. You can choose a note for once we start getting into that. And you have a shitload of scales that you would like to lock to. If we keep scrolling down, look at them. Heaps of scales. So you can lock your oscillators, synth sounds to a scale if you so desire. We'll leave this on chromatic for now. You've got a transpose button. This is the randomizer. We'll come back to the randomizer. Let's start talking about neurons. So we'll just stop it from playing for a second. Whenever I click on a neuron, you'll notice this changes and down below changes here, letting you know that this is the neuron you have selected. If I move to 2, here's 2, it says 2 there, and you'll see changing between these, some of the sounds down here will change, like pay attention to down here. If I move up here, it's a totally different set of sounds. To get sounds to happen, you need to connect one neuron to another neuron, all right? So I need to connect this up here. I want to do this. So to connect a neuron, you need to first select it and then click route. And once the route button is lit, you can then choose somewhere for it to route to. So I'm going to choose neuron 2, and a little line will appear between them. And that is now routed. So now I can turn off the route button. And now when I hit play, it is now sending data from this neuron to this neuron here. Now, I can click on the neuron and decipher the threshold of the hi-hat. So let's just focus on the hi-hat. We'll turn off this neuron, this connection that we had between the two. And let's talk about the hi-hat first. So we'll hit play, and we have a threshold here. If I turn this up 1, it's progressively getting slower. And you can see it timing 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So it's counting 9 there if we go to 10. And this goes all the way up to 16. So once you make a connection to, let's make another connection. This is selected. We hit route. And now we have, this would be a kick. Let's call this a kick. I want to slow this kick down. So what I'm going to do now is select the neuron and hit a 3. And you can hear now we've got a... I can slow this down if I want, overall. Right. Now the way this works is the pulse that is being sent from this neuron is triggering this one here, and we are then feeding off with the threshold. We can create an offset from here as well. Let's do a 7 offset. And now I'm going to move to routing the next, to route to our next neuron. So what I do is select the one I want to route from, hit route, and then route to our next section. Turn off route, click on here. Now it all sounds like it's doing the same thing because we have a similar tone. So this is where you can start to go in and change the actual sounds. And we're starting to build something here, right? Now, the beautiful thing is you can route these anywhere you want. I can route a new neuron down here from this one. Let's hit route, create a new one. And then I can route this one from here up, hit route, and I can route it back over here. Hang on, let me do it, get it right. I can route this over to this. So now this original hi-hat is now sending pulses here. This is sending pulses here. And you can get all these crossovers of things sending pulses back and forward, creating these interesting sounds. So now I'm going to turn off the routing. One thing that's really hard to get used to, let me just stop this, is turning on the route and turning it off. It's a thing you got to be aware of. But you can see here we have a circle jerk going on here of all these neurons sending pulses to each other. This is sending out here to here to here, and it's sending out to here. So we've got pulses going everywhere. And then we can go in here and really mess with the threshold and offsets of these to start creating interesting tones. Yeah, that would be really good. Look, the other thing, Ed, is... Sorry, audio damage, if you're watching this. I doubt you are. They're really terrible at getting back to people. They're in all my years of on this program, how about responding, audio damage, every now and again? Lizard Day, what's going on? Blue Unicorn, what's happening? E Urban, hello. All right. Let's cover by CQ. Hello. All right, so we've got something going on here at least. Let's talk about the oscillators and how to get different sounds out of this, because that's where really the magic happens and can get really, really interesting. Okay, so down below, let's go down below. And down here we have the synthesizer. And there's two screens down here. There's a synthesizer and the mixer. You can click between them here. The synthesizer allows you to change each neuron's sound, what it's putting out. And the mixer allows you to do things like pan, effects sends, mute, solo, levels. And you've got some effects here. You've got a delay. You've also got this beautiful Rough Rider compressor that is part of the Rough Rider app that is from Audio Damage. And you've got outputs here, auxiliary outputs, main outputs, stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to focus on a sound. Let's solo the we'll solo the kick here. So neuron 2 is our kick at the moment. So we'll solo this, hit play. And here's our kick sound. So let's head back over to our synthesizer and take a look at what we can do with this. All right, first off, down here is our mix. And you will see we've got a waveform and a representation of a noise. So this is our oscillators, and this is our noise filter for making snares. The noise is for snares and hi-hats. And over here we can make synth sounds, kick drums, all this kind of stuff. Toms, whatever you like. At the moment, the mix is in the middle. If we move this over, we're now just hearing the oscillators. If we move this over to this side, we're just hearing the noise for hi-hats, snares, that kind of thing. So because this is a kick, let's move it over to the left. And now we can focus on making some stuff over here. So we've got an oscillator that has a sine wave and it is a triangle. So if we click between these, triangle, there's a triangle, this is a sine wave. There's a little keyboard here as well too, and if I click this on, what it does is it locks it to the pitch quantizer, so it locks it to the scale. And you'll notice when I tune this now, you'll see notes underneath the dial, underneath the knob. All right, but if I turn off this, it's just going to be a free rein. So let's turn this on. And we want to try and make a kick, don't we? So let's bring this down a bit. It's in C, so I'm going to stick to a C. There we go. Boom, boom. And from here, we can mess with this oscillator. We have an oscillator bend. Let's bring the amount up. We can change the shape. We have an FM envelope underneath as well. Hi, Joe Glenn. Bring it back to 0, and so you can go into the minus. You can go ahead with this oscillator bend, which will bring it way down. Yeah, so if we tune this back up, we're going to get a bend that bends backwards, right? Whoa. There's a lot of opportunity for sound shaping with this thing. It's very, very nice. Let's bring it back down to this C. We've got an FM envelope, which does nothing at this time. Why is that? Because our FM is not turned on, right? So we have a carrier and down here for an FM synth. We've got an oscillator amp with an attack and decay. So we can add some decay on the end. Cut it short. We can change the shape as we like. We have a click down here. Now this click, if pulled down, can give us like that, if you're looking for that snap at the beginning. Plus we have an FM bus. So this is our FM bus. This is where everything changes. If we turn this out and in, we have 2 pads here for FM. And you can get pretty wild over here. Not only do we have an FM, we've got an AM bus. So these can go from your FM bus output into the AM bus and then to the FM and get some pretty gnarly sounds. Not only that, we have a timbre as well. So you can get pretty filthy. Let's unsolo this. So again, messing with your FM envelope. you can get some pretty distorted, messed up, crazy, horrible sounds. Depends on what you think deem as horrible. Plus, remember, if we come back over here, we can do a mix of our noise over here. So we can come over here and do a mix of our noise. Let's add some decay to the noise. We can change the pitch, the mix of it. We can there's a low pass, bypass, high pass filter. We can change the frequency of, so we've got a low pass, and we've got a resonator. So that's good. We've got modulation. Where you want that modulation to go. We've got some effects if we want to turn them on, right? The effects can be sorted out over here. So if we wanted to add some delay, bring everything back in. But let's send this somewhere else. Let's route this somewhere else. We can route, what can we route? We can route this. Let's do some routing. Choose this one. We'll route this over here. So now we're sending this one out here. Let's turn this off. Let's select this one. Oh, hang on. We'll select number 1, and then we'll do some routing over here. So now we've got a crisscross, and let's hear what happens now that we've routed. Right? And we're only using 4 neurons. So with only a few neurons, you can actually start to create some really interesting patterns. And again, just by messing with the thresholds of each of these, if we hit play, let's go in and just mess about with this one here, number 3. So a lot of variety to be had, but wait, it gets more fun because underneath each neuron has a trigger and a ratchet. And these are where we get into randomization, yeah? So you have your likelihood buttons for each of these. Let's go with we'll start with the ratcheting first. And we'll focus, we'll solo neuron 1 and select that. And let's go over here and look at the ratcheting. So I'm going to turn on likelihood of ratcheting. Let's turn it up to about 55%, and we'll say put 3 repeats, and let's hit play and see what happens. Where are we going? So you can hear now it's starting to vary up the ratcheting. And then we also have a trigger in here, and we can decide the likelihood of notes being played. So now we're getting these gaps randomly in there. Let's bring everything back in. So within each neuron, we can create a whole bunch of randomization. Let's go into neuron number 2 and turn up the ratcheting. Number 3, we'll give it 25% of repeats. So the possibilities are quite endless. And again, with very minimal neurons, we're creating some really, it's generating its own stuff. It's regenerating through itself to create some fantastic stuff. You can change the clock rate at any time, so this will be a lot faster. Cool. And there's lots and lots and lots of presets that you can go through. There's so many presets, it's utterly ridiculous. Let's run through some of them. And then I'm going to do some. So I love in the manual, I forget where it is, it says, if you're looking for something to make straight drum beats, this probably isn't the app for you. Which is kind of true. Like this is more of something that is, unique. Let's run through some presets and hit play. So you can create a basic 4 on the floor. And the best way to really get an understanding of this really is, hello Laurie, is to click on your neurons. So these are our hats. Let's solo them. And you saw when we built the patch before, it started with this. Let's go to number 2. So this is set to a 3 threshold and 4 offset, which gives us. And the next one is 7. Let's change this to an 8 and see what happens. Let's go through some more presets. Now straight away you'll notice this is more of an ambient kind of thing, and this is really great because you don't have to make drums with this. You can make some really beautiful ambient pieces using the oscillator for like chimes. And look at the outlay of this. This has got neurals going everywhere. We can change this, and what are we on? Neuron 4. We can add some delay to this. So where is the effects? So the effects can be found on the mixer page. To add effects, all you need to do is turn up the effects send. And then you've got your delay over here. Let's try another patch. And while we're doing that, it is that time. I've gone a little bit over. So it's that time we need to hear from our sponsor. If we have to run an ad. Every day, halfway through the show, we run an ad because YouTube have forced me to do it. So let's run the ad. And you can avoid the ad. The ad's been run if you're a YouTube Premium subscriber, or just click through, skip it and come back. And while we're waiting, we'll let you know of what's coming up over the next couple of days like we do every day here. So we have tomorrow on the show, we're taking a look at that app that I can't find at the moment. It is Bleece Multiband Compressor. This thing will take any sound you generate through and turn it into a monster. It's really, really cool. Thursday, no interview this week here on the channel. Instead, I've got my good friend Peter Johns coming on. We're going to talk about how to distribute stuff, sponsored by DistroKid. And of course, to round out the week of app stuff is Bass Hammer by Nambrini. It's a bass sim. Okay, let's get back to this. Let's check out another preset. Just so you can hear some of the sounds you can make with this, because this is a really, really powerful set of oscillators and your noise. Now, did you see this one? MIDI out only in C minor. So this is a MIDI out only patch, which should be able to send to other things. How does this work? Let's talk about triggers right now. So over here, we have our trigger modes. When I click on this, you've got synth only, or you've got MIDI only, or MIDI and synth. Now, see, I've just moved to synth only, which means it's now relying on using the sounds from within the app. If we choose MIDI only, this is going to start looking for somewhere else, another app to create, to get the sounds from. If we do MIDI and synth, we're able to have the sounds from inside of this and sounds from something else. So just remember that. We'll be coming back to it shortly. So we're currently looking at the factory sounds, but in here also are some designers. So you've got 3 different designers who've made some wonderful patches. These things are really incredible. Hey, Chevelle. Zach Thong, what's going on? How cool is this one, man? Yeah! Okay, so let's talk about routing. Let's talk about some routing. So I have a little project here set up just to show you. This is sending. So basically here I have an instance of Axon, right? But I also have this routed to FAC drum kit. So at the same time, if I now add FAC drum kit to the mix, now they're both playing the same thing because I've decided with this to choose. So we've got synth only selected at the moment. Now I can do MIDI and synth, or I can do just So what's going on there? We have this playing its own sound, and I've got Replicant from Audio Damage doing its thing and adding some really crazy replicant things. All right, so messing with it, distorting it, fucking around with it. But then at the same time, we have the same beats being sent out to FAC drum kit. So how is this routing achieved? Let's talk about that. So with drums, hey Abe the band, with drums and stuff, or the drums are normally synced to MIDI notes, right? And the beautiful thing about Axon, as I showed earlier, you have a MIDI assign table here. So these are your in notes, 61, so we've got a C3 all the way up to F sharp 3. But you can decide what MIDI out notes are played. So for a particular thing like FAC drum kit, let's just make sure the keyboard is connected to this. Just to show you, this is FAC drum kit. And here's all the pieces of the kit. So if I want Axon to send notes out, I'm going to have to find what the notes are. And you can see here on each of these, you can do it all from here. You can do your MIDI routing from here. So the in note is 61, MIDI note 61, but my out note is 36, this one here. So if we solo this kick, which is Neuron, and hit play, it's triggering the kick from FAC, as well as the oscillator from within side of the app. Now, if I change this to MIDI only, now it's only sending the MIDI to FAC drum kit and ignoring the sounds from within Axon 3. Right? So now if we start to bring in the rest of this kit, so essentially, you can send any of these notes to anything you like. If I now connected this, what do we got? We're sending this out here to FAC drum kit. If I put in a synth, say, over here, and we send this out to a synth, it's now going to play the notes from the synth. And then if I turn this on to trigger mode, MIDI and synth, like it is currently, we're going to get the sounds from within so you can get pretty damn fucking crazy. Right, so now from within Axon only running, it's running as a sequencer and it's sending out MIDI data. So you could send MIDI data out to multiple synths here. You could get really stupid and do some really off-tap stuff here because of, what do we got? Say a phase monkey. We'll throw our phase monkey in here as well and send this out to phase monkey. Now, I've barely scratched the surface of the incredible stuff you can do with this. It's for $3.99. This is a sound designer's dream. There's no doubt about it. It's very powerful, a little bit perplexing, and I'm sure there's some people still scratching their heads over it. Let's add another neuron. We're going to add this one. We're going to send this hi-hat to this neuron. We're going to just add a piano in here just for the sake of it, right? Now remember, you can actually go into these individual nodes and change them from MIDI only. So this one can be MIDI only. Is that right? No, because I've got the routing on. Sorry, guys. Let me do this. You can go in, I'm pretty sure, and change this. Is it node by node? Let me check. Yeah, node by node can have different sends. So this node's going MIDI and synth. This node's going synth only. This node is going to MIDI only. All right? So you can really get some fucking bonkers shit going on. This one's set to MIDI only. Let's go synth and MIDI. We'll add some repeats to this. It's nuts. Now remember earlier we had these presets that were just MIDI out. Well, here we are with just MIDI out. Hey, Sander Wolf, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you. We're going to play one of your tracks, I do believe, on the show coming up. So yeah, not only is it a drum thing, this is some randomized central here. All right, let's talk about the last thing and before we get out of here, because look, I could go on forever about this thing. It's very, there's a lot to it, as you can see. But for $4, if you're really into sound design, experimentation, drums, creating something interesting, you can't go wrong for $4. Yeah, and it's going to go up, remember that. Let me save this silly little project. It's complete and utter nonsense. And let's just talk about the randomization stuff, because you have a lot of randomization here. Okay, so we've got a default patch that comes up when we hit play. Down here, we have the randomizer. Now, you can control, if we select this little button here, this will randomize the entire neural network. Let's do it. So you can see when I click that, it creates new sends, but it's not changing any of the tones, any of the oscillators or noises. It's just changing the drum patterns. You can change the threshold. So this will just change the thresholds of everything up here. Yeah. So you've got randomization for that. This is just for iPad, unfortunately. iPad only. I should have said that at the start, I forgot. You can change all of the voices in one go. You ready? It's going to get weird. You can change the current voice. So whatever you have selected, this will just change that current voice. It's on, yeah, it is on desktop as well. You can change the pitches as well. Let's go and change the pitches. So clicking on this will change the pitches, Windows, Mac, and iPad. Or you can change everything. It's pretty fucking out there. Let's change some thresholds here. Now, the manual's very big. I love what it says here. Let me read you this from the manual. We understand you just got this shiny new plugin and you'd really rather play with it than read some dull exposition. Go ahead, install it, load it up, flip through the presets, move some of the controls around. Axon comes with a healthy assortment of built-in presets that will provide instant gratification and keep you amused for quite some time. However, eventually, you may find that it's not entirely clear what the fuck is going on. Circles blink, sounds happen, beats emerge. But how? When you're ready to learn about how Axon does what it does, come back to the manual and read on. I'm on an iPad. This show is primarily, it's all iPad or iPad Pro. So I don't use, I have a Mac over there, but I use iPad for all my music making. So, I mean, chill stuff. There's just a bunch of beautiful sounds, and ultimately you don't have to use any of the sounds. You can set this to work on any drum kit you want. Let's just talk. This FM is so damn nice. What am I currently using? There you go. It's a Arturia. The MIDI mapping saves with the preset, which is nice. Yeah, the MIDI mapping preset is wonderful. And they can be found in the factories. So you've got drums here, drum only rack driver. So you can see here, it's already, all these pieces are set. So you can, hi-hats, and you can see the number changing as you do this. Yeah. Let's get back over here. Look, I never really comment much on GarageBand these days because it's so limited. GarageBand, you buy at your own risk for GarageBand. Who fucking knows? Because this can be used. Remember, you can also load this. Lastly, before we do get out of here, you can load this immediately without any other. You can load this as a MIDI controller as well too. Yeah. So there it is, as just a MIDI. So you can see it's playing, but there's no sound. There's no sound coming out of this whatsoever. I can create this, send this over to a piano or whatever, and then send MIDI out from here. I'm pretty sure you can do it this way. Synth only, MIDI only. Right. So you can run it as a MIDI host instead of an instrument. So there's that, yeah. All right, we are out. I'm done. The thing, the Arturia, I just bought one, and it's the best way to get my heartstrings. I love my Arturia Mini Fuse 2. I've got too many audio interfaces from reviewing them. But yeah, as Thomas has put here, that's my gear guide. That is all the stuff I own. My studio is really large and changing all the time with different things, hard drives, all this. So, you know, this setup here has a lot of things behind it, like multiple hard drives. Look at all those hard drives back there piling up. It's getting bad. And my studio desk here. Oh, yeah, the other thing too, quickly, just on keyboard control. Let's quickly clear this out. So you can actually control Axiom 2 with a keyboard. So all the parameters are open as Axon 2, Axon 3, what am I saying? So if you go in here and select your input as your keyboard, it works, right? It does work. But here's the thing you got to remember, which I found. We'll come over here to the keyboard. So where are we set to here? So you can see when I hit, we're at a C3, 60 on the MIDI. So you can see I can play that note, I can play that hi-hat. But you'll notice if I want to play the next instrument, notice what happens. Every time I hit it, the neuron counts before it plays. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we click on this neuron, you'll see it's set to 7. So if I actually wanted to play these beats on it and record MIDI in and use it that way, I'd have to bring every neuron down to 0, right? Like this. And then I would have so it's possible to play this on a keyboard as well, but you have to make sure that your neurons are all down to absolute freaking 0 and your offsets are down to 0 as well, right? So it is possible. Absolutely. I see that offset set to 8. So there's that as well. So it's just a lot of customization, a lot of fun to be had with it. Hopefully this has given you a little bit of an insight. I know it's not a full 100% broken down, everything written out there, but it's a lot to cover in a very short period of time. As I said, there is a manual for you to go and read and play around with. It's $4. It goes up on May 10th. I don't know how much it's going up to, so if you want to grab it, go grab it. Mess around with it. It's pretty cheap. It's less than a cup of coffee. What can I say? All right. Tomorrow is Bleece compressor, multi-band compressor. That's really fun. Turns off, it makes sounds incredible. So that's going to be cool. Today's featured artist is Scott Borthwick, SM Borthwick. He is an amazing artist, a long-time supporter of this channel. I love his music, and this song that he's dropped is just mwah. I couldn't say it any better, Scott. You outdid yourself. So if you'd like to check out Scott's music, there's a pinned comment at the top of the chat always, and you can go and check that out. This song is called Just Because. And it is just because. But listen to the lyrics. They say a hell of a lot. Do you know someone like this? A complete turd? Anyway, as I say at the end of each show, remember, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we'll all rise together. This is Scott Borthwick, Just Because. Let's oja.
You think that you're so good, you know that you're so great, and the world will be served to you on a silver plate. You know it's true, and I just smile 'cause I'm a better man than you. And I'll say something like, if you were even half the man you clearly think you are, you'd be more than twice the man you proved to be so far. Just because I think I'm better than you, it doesn't mean that I'm not. I got grace and style and wit and charm. Remind me now just what you got. You think money makes a man, of that you have no doubt. I wanna see your face on the day that you find out. Too late, I expect. You can't buy true love and you can't buy respect. Not from me anyway.
Sing it, Scotty!
You know I'm gonna say something like, if you were even half the man you clearly seem to think you are, you'd be more than twice the man you proved yourself to be so far. Just because I think I'm better than you, it doesn't mean that I'm not. I got grace and style and wit and charm. Remind me now just what you got. You're all motion and no meat, saying things I can't excuse. Your mouth was running for your brain could share the news. You mean nothing to me, nothing to me. You mean nothing to me, gonna scrape you off my shoes.
Yeah!
And that is all the time I've got for you.
Awesome, Scott. Mic drop.